Hello everyone and welcome to another video here of the Vuelta España 2025 as we look forward to stage 17. The Vuelta doesn't let up. If stage 16 was a war of attrition, stage 17 is a brutal summit showdown, a short but savage 143.2 kilometer ride from Barco de Valdeorras to the daunting Alto de el Morredero. On paper it may look like one of the shorter mountain stages of the race, but with the nearly 3,400 meters of climbing, it is relentless, and the finale is among the hardest in the entire 2025 route for the Vuelta. The day begins with tension in the air, the first 10 kilometers climbing gently, the kind of uphill drag that immediately wakes sore legs after stage 16's punishing mountain hills. A brief downhill stretch and some flat roads follow, but it's merely the calm before a storm of climbing. After around 40 kilometers into the stage, the peloton hits the first real test, 3.1 kilometers at 6%, a sharp enough ramp to spark breakaway ambition. No sooner do they descend than another climb looms, 5.3 kilometers at 4.1%, less severe but still part of the day's draggy drain. These early climbs won't award any KOM points, but they'll help decide who makes it into the final day's breakaway, and with such a ferocious finale, the breakaway will need both strength and numbers to survive. The first official KOM of the stage comes up to 75 kilometers into the stage, and that is the Paso de las Travisas. It measures 7.8 kilometers at 4.1%, not the steepest, but positioned awkwardly in the middle of the stage. Once over the summit, there is still a grueling 68 kilometers to the finish, and the road begins tilt gently downhill for the next 25 kilometers, funneling the riders towards Ponferrada. This stretch is more than just filler, it carries history. The approach includes two rolling hills that played their part in the 2014 World Championship road race, where Michał Kwiatkowski stunned the favorites to take the rainbow jersey. The second of these hills is a nasty kicker, just 1.1 kilometers at 6.5%, before a fast descent delivers the race into Ponferrada itself. From there, the final battle begins. The official stats of the Alto de el Morredero reads 8.8 kilometers at 9.7%, but those numbers only tell half the story. In reality, the climb begins almost 10 kilometers earlier, right after crossing the Boeza River. Immediately, the riders are faced with the brutal wall, 3.5 kilometers at 10.3%. There's no easing into it. The climb demands effort from the very first ramp. A brief flattening offers some respite, but it's deceptive because the road soon kicks up again for another 4.3 kilometers at 8.7%. Only after this punishing prelude do the riders officially hit the start of the climb. From here, it's pure agony. 8.8 kilometers at 9.7%, opening with 5 kilometers averaging 11.6%. These slopes will strip away teammates, drop outsiders, and expose even the smallest weaknesses and cracks that have developed over the enduring racing so far. Anyone off their best form will be found out. The final kilometers relent only slightly, but by then the damage will have been done. Taken as a whole, from the river to the summit, the climb measures an agonizing 18.1 kilometers at 6.3%. The average may sound manageable, but with multiple stretches pushing into double digits, this is one of the defining climbs of the entire Vuelta España. At the summit, there will be the usual 10, 6, and 4 seconds awaiting the top 3 riders, with earlier intermediate sprints offering 6, 4, and 2, but this stage is less about seconds and more about minutes potentially, the kind of mountain stage where GC rivals can crack in a spectacular fashion. The final climb of the Alto de el Morredero has never before hosted a Vuelta España finish, but its combination of length, steepness, and brutality ensures it will leave a lasting impression. For the breakaway, survival looks unlikely unless the GC riders are strangely hesitant. More realistically, stage 17 will be about the favorites themselves, an all-out test test of climbing ability, stamina, and that ever required resilience after 2 back-to-back mountain stages and a lot of days of racing. By the time the riders reached the top, the red jersey battle could look dramatically different. Some will soar, others will falter, and this final climb may well carve the list of true contenders down to only 1 or 2. Anyways, before we get into the predictions, we might as well hear what Patrick had to say about this stage in the previous show before the Vuelta began.
Stage 17, we go from Barco de Valdeorras to Alto de el Morredero. Well, pretty much is flat most of the day. Then the last climb is 18.1 k's at 6.3%, but it goes up the first 3.5 k's at 10%, then a little bit flatter, and then 4.3 k's at 8.7%. It's a very irregular climb, which is very characteristic of the Vuelta a España. And again, it's hard to tell. You might well see this being one of a longer, more brutal climbs than those opening 3Ks averaging 10%, that a GC team will be relatively tempted to try and get some time back on, moving up from 7th to 5th or wherever positions people are. So I think that will be a GC day.
In terms of predictions, obviously this looks like it could either be, as we've seen in this Vuelta already, a showdown between a breakaway filled with UAE riders, like we've seen already. We've seen Marc Soler take a stage, we've seen Juan Ayuso take 2 stages, and Jay Vine take 2 stages. So maybe they want to add yet another stage. Some of the team members still haven't taken one, but I think maybe we could see Juan Ayuso or Jay Vine looking for that hat-trick win, or Almeida and Jonas Vingegaard really go head-to-head here if they haven't given the breakaway too much time. That would be quite good to see an epic battle. We saw it on the Angliru. Wasn't the most epic battle, but Almeida got the better of Vingegaard on that day, but the day after, Jonas Vingegaard managed to edge him out in the sprint. So if these two big riders, who have both appeared on the Cycling Dane, if they can do something to try and drop the other, this is probably the platform to do it. The steeper climbs, I mean, we saw the Angliru, both of them are pretty good. It looked like there was some cracks with Jonas Vingegaard. Maybe Almeida doesn't have that extra level to get rid of him. We'll see what the rest day has done, and stage 16 as well. So it's going to be an interesting one for sure. Who do I think is going to win? I think maybe Jonas Vingegaard will want some revenge after not winning the Angliru stage. But that's basically it for now. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and why not check out our recaps as well here on the channel. But for now, thank you for watching. Comment down below what you think, and I will see you tomorrow.